So to start your cross stitch, you're going to have all your tools. You will have your pattern, you will have your cross stitch fabric, you will have your embroidery thread, your hoop, a cross stitch needle which has a large eye, I don't know if you can see that, with a blunt tip. It's not a sharp tip. You can use an embroidery needle if that's all you have, but blunt tips are easier. You don't need a sharp tip for this. You'll need your scissors and your water soluble marking pen. So the first thing you're going to do is to find center in your fabric. So you will fold your fabric in half, both directions. Your fabric is a perfect square. I cut them in a perfect square, and you will find the very corner of it, and you will just take your water soluble pen and just put a little mark. Okay, so when you open it back up, you have the very center of your fabric. Now, my pattern will be different than yours, obviously, but my pattern, I don't know if you can see these little tiny arrows. It shows that these arrows are center from left to right, and these little arrows are center from top to bottom. So if I go down from top to bottom to the middle, let's see, you're going to find center on your pattern, which is going to be like right here. Okay, it's kind of a strange center, but you will use that as your center in order to go from left to right and right to left. So what you will do is you will pick your first color. Say I want to do this purple flower here as my first. So I will get some purple thread. You're going to separate it so that you're using 2 strands each. And just like you would normally do for everything else. I put it in my mouth to keep it taut, but that's because I'm the only one who's using it. It has a tendency to not want to separate it here at the very end. There we go. Okay, got my 2 strands. I will thread my needle. It should be fairly easy because it's a really big eye. Again, you're going to have a tail. And you will also tie your knot. Actually, you don't tie a knot in this. That's why I'm doing this, because it's different. You don't need to tie a knot at the end of your thread, but you do want to make sure their tail's long. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from center and I'm going to count. I'm going to count how many spaces there are. So there'll be 1, 2, it looks like my grid is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So there's 10, 20 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, on either side. So 24. So I'm going to go from my center and I'm going to count 24. So here is my center. I'm going to say the center dot is this one. Okay, so I'll make it a little bigger. 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so I know which one it is. Okay, so I'm going to put my needle through that 24. If I can find it. Oh, duh. It'd be helpful if I hooped my fabric first. Yes, you need to hoop your fabric. It'll keep it from... So yeah, hoop your fabric and then count your 24 or whatever your pattern is. You will most likely have a pattern that has color in the very center. Then you just start in the center and go as far as you can from there out. Those are definitely easier. I just picked a pattern that has just text in the center because that's what I wanted to use. I'm gonna, we're turning these into pillows, so pick whatever you think you will want as a pillow. Okay, there's my bigger dot right here. I'm going to put my thread through, but I am not going to pull it all the way. I'm going to leave a tail about 1 inch long, maybe a little 1/2 inch. Okay, and you are just going to make sure that you stitch over this when you do your X. So here's my 24 out, and I'm starting with this little one here. So I'm going to do a little X. Okay, I'm going to come down diagonally from that spot. Okay, I'm not going to pull it super tight because I do not want to pull through my tail. Okay, then I'm going to come to this other corner, and I am going to make sure that my tail is caught underneath my X that I am creating. There. Now your tail is a little bit more secure. You finish your X. Okay. And then on my pattern, I'm going to go up 1. So I'm going to create another X up here. And I'm going to get my tail inside that. It's going the wrong direction, of course. So your first couple stitches are a little bit slower and harder because you want to make sure that you have your tail inside and that it's secured. Okay, so here's my second stitch, my second little X. You're going to go up through the same hole as the corner of the last X. So cross stitch, you're literally almost always making X's. Not always, because you can see my pattern, the words aren't X's. Those are just going to be a straight stitch. These are all going to be a straight stitch, but pretty much everything else is just going to be an X. Okay, so now I've got this one, and then I'm going to put one right above it. And when you have a row of things, see, I have on my pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. So there's 1. You can literally just do 1 in a row. Here's 2. I'm just going to do one side of my X's all the way up. 3. This is 4. Now we've got 5. 1, 2, 4. Help if I could count. Here's 5. Then you want 6. Oh, my tail's coming through. You don't want your tail to come through. Your tail, if I put it straight in there, it'll get caught in all the little X's that I'm doing. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more. And where's the hole? There you are. 7. Okay. I have a row now. Now all I have to do, and look, my tail's caught nicely inside that row. On the way back, you just go the opposite direction for all 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the one that I already did is 7. So now I have this entire row of purples right here. Those are done. Okay, so now what I can do is I can do my little things off of it and then work my way over. So if I go 2 spaces up from this one, so at 1, 2, the third one up, I can go over. So I go 1, 2, 3. Here's my third one up. I'm going to make one next to it. And I'm just going to do X's here because it's not much of a long line. They're just like a couple here and a couple there. So now I need to go 2 out from my line. Okay, so now I have my 2 out, and then I'll go 1 down and 1 over. So this is how you do things you know, the edges of shapes that are, you know, not filled in, not straight line. It's going to look like a flower in the end, but, and then the middle is easy to just fill in with just lines. Like, so the rest of my flower is going to be lines once I get to there. Okay, I am going to complete this, and I'll show you how to finish your tail at the end. So I have completed my purple flower. If you look at my pattern versus my flower, it should look exactly the same. If it doesn't, I mean, if you missed a spot or whatever, honestly, you can make your design however you want. It just won't look exactly like that. So now I have my purple thread, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with it now? You are not going to tie a knot. What you are going to do is you are going to run your thread, if I can get underneath these, up the back of your design. Just like we caught our beginning tail in the back of our design. My stitches are really tight, so it's not wanting to go underneath some of them. But that's good, because then your stitches aren't going to come out. Okay, and you're just going to pull it. See how I just have it underneath the purple threads? And you will just pull it. So that now, pull it tight, my tail is secured. I'm going to do a couple more underneath threads, just like our beginning tail. There we go. Okay, so now I have my ending tail, if you can see, is underneath all of these threads. And then you're just going to snip it right there. If you do have any of your beginning tail sticking out somewhere you don't want it, you can just trim the ends of it. And then you have your first flower. So now what I will do is, since I'm already using purple, I can just keep going. And I'll say, okay, so I will move on to the next one that's closest. I'll move on to this flower. So I will count again from my pattern. Let's see. I'm going to count from this very top part of my flower, because that's the closest. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 9. Okay, so 14 is what I will count up. So there'll be 14 dots in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Make it a little bigger just so I can see it. And then I will stick my needle in, create a little tail, and then I'm here at this very corner one. So I'm just going to make my first little X, and then I want to make sure that I get my tail inside. So we're going to go that direction. And just secure your tail. Okay, my tail's more secure now. Okay, so there's my first stitch of this one. So that is how you do your cross stitch. You just go from, it's just counting, honestly, you're just counting dots. And that's it.